After Rachel's death, when her dad began to read Rachel's journals and compare them against the diary of Anne Frank, he found that these girls had some amazing things in common. One of the most shocking, though, was both of them had premonitions they were going to die young. And Rachel wrote and spoke about it, and I'll share more about her premonitions later, but Anne Frank actually said, I want to go on living even after my death. Rachel said, I'm going to have an impact on the world. She had 3 impossible secret goals in her life. One was to go on living after her death, and because of her diary today, she has. Programs like Rachel's Challenge, dozens of programs, honor her life and legacy every day in a way. We keep her alive. She said, I want to be a famous writer someday, and she has definitely done that. One of the top 15 most written books in world history is the only book she ever wrote. And she also said, I want my writings to travel the world and impact people's lives. All 3 of those dreams she wrote when she was in hiding in that upper room from the Nazis during World War II. And they've all come true. So she inspired Rachel. One of Rachel's biggest goals, she said, I'm going to start a chain reaction for kindness and compassion, a ripple effect, and travel the world. Today you can go to schools in Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Japan, the UK, China, Belgium, Bahrain, Bahamas, Bermuda, all 50 US states, and every province in Canada. You can even go to Nome, Alaska, I know, because they sent me twice. And in all these places that we've been to in the last year, not over 14 years, just in the last year, the places that I just mentioned, you're going to meet people who have heard Rachel's story, accepted her challenges, and become a part of this movement, this chain reaction for kindness and compassion. So this absolutely has come true. Another one of her impossible sounding goals was a little bit different. When she was 13 years old, Rachel walked in her bedroom this one day and she pulled this old dresser away from her wall, took her hands, traced them on the back with a marker. Inside of the tracing of her hands, Rachel wrote this: these hands belong to Rachel Joy Scott and will someday touch millions of people's hearts. I want you to look close because she did not write maybe, and she never said I hope. She said they will. She pushed that dresser back against her wall. 4 years later, lost her life at Columbine. 3 years after her death, her family discovered this message for the first time, after they'd already shared her story with more than 5 million people all around the world. She had already touched millions of people's hearts. Today it's over 19.5 million people. By the end of this school year, it'll be closer to 21 to 22. People who have joined this fraternity or sorority, we won't call it, of people who now honor her life and legacy every day and how they treat other people. They become a part of her chain reaction. It is truly incredible. And she would be so honored to know some of the lives that have been touched and changed by her story. Here's just a few.
Rachel's life has touched the lives of millions of people around the world, including President Bush and his wife Laura, who met with Rachel's family and even wrote a letter recommending Rachel's challenge to groups like yours. President Clinton also met with the Scotts on several different occasions. Bill Cosby joined Rachel's brothers Mike and Craig to help jumpstart Rachel's challenge in the state of Georgia. Entertainers such as Elton John and movie stars such as Glenn Close were also touched by her story. Chuck Norris dedicated his autobiography to Rachel's memory, and he and his wife Gina have become close friends with the Scott family. Dr. Oz volunteered to do a television promo on Rachel's life, and Cal Ripken Jr. and his family's foundation have become partners with Rachel's challenge. But most important of all are the millions of lives that have been touched, changed, and challenged to start their own chain reactions of kindness and compassion. Today, millions of acts of kindness are celebrated through paper chains that are displayed in Rachel's rallies around the world. In the words of Rachel Scott, people will never know how far a little kindness can go.
Around the Northeast primarily, and met with them and taught them the science behind pursuing their dream of what college they wanted to attend. And I'll be honest, I loved it, because college for me was a chance to find a new confidence. Made the dean's list for the first time in college. I always thought I was stupid before that, because I had ADD and dyslexia. And then I walked in, and my counselor in college, I said to her, I said, I may make it, I may not, a little bit of a wild card, but I guarantee you we'll have a lot of fun along the way. But I have ADD and dyslexia, so my doctors pretty much told me, like, I wouldn't even get here, but I'm here now, let's just see what we can do. And she said, I have ADD and dyslexia, and I was valedictorian in my high school class, and I went, that is so not cool. Because she just said it was possible. But it was very cool, because for the first time in my life I had someone who had already done what I wanted to do, and they taught me. And I copied her and got the result I was looking for. And I loved college. I was the best 5.5 years ever, because I did a lot of time off and volunteering and worked with nonprofits while I was there to try to figure out what I was going to do when I went into the real world. And so I hope you enjoy your time with that. But I will tell you this, I was getting frustrated because I was sharing all these keys to success and how to get into college with all these students. And so many times it was like, hey man, that was awesome. Thanks for all the insider tips. And then it was like they're walking off going, hey, let's go beat somebody up. And I didn't know if these people I were helping were good people with character and morals and ethics or not. So I said to my wife, I got to find something else to do. And the Virginia Tech shooting happened about a month after I made that choice, and it ticked me off. And 2 days after, Rachel's dad and brother were on national TV talking about what they were doing. And I said, I need to meet them. And I jumped on a plane and flew out, and I heard this story, and it changed my life. And it's been 7 years since then. And here's the other problem I saw when I was talking to high school kids. About 14 years ago, when I began speaking, part of my job was asking, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you want to accomplish? And we would try to find a plan for them. If they want to be an engineer, then there's certain schools you definitely want to try to get into, and here's what you need to do now to have a shot in 3 years to get it done. And so many times when I met with students 14 years ago, I couldn't get them to shut up. It was goal dream, excited, excited. Huge eyes fired up, veins pumping out of their neck. They were totally torqued about their life. A couple of years later, I would be asking the same question to students, and they'd say, oh, don't worry, Mr. Dave, I'm just looking forward to Friday. That was the goal. And I began to see more and more people giving up and existing and not living. And one of the biggest reasons why I'm a presenter for Rachel's Challenge is this quote. Rachel dared everybody to dream, and she said, glory only comes when one pursues their dreams. How many of us know what we really want and go after it? How many of us have enough trust, strength, and faith to believe we can do the impossible? Today I have a daughter who's 12 and a half. Her name is Mackenzie. My son is 11, he's Zach, and we have a 2.5-year-old named Zoe who is a world dominatrix. She's a nut job, and I love her. If you ask my daughter Mackenzie what can stop you in this world, the answer that comes out of her mouth is not from me or my wife. It's from Rachel. And she'll look you dead in the eye and say, the only thing that can stop me in this life is me. The way I think. If I think something's impossible, I'm right. If I think it's possible, I'm right. Nothing can stop me except me. And I will be forever grateful to Rachel, a girl I've never met. And she's helped me raise pretty amazing kids. And I think this is advice we all need to take, is really look at the way we know we can impact the world, understand the power that we have. But while she left us this formula to get rid of prejudice, and it works, she left us a 3-step plan that you might look at and judge as generic, which I did. But I've been following it. And it's amazing how it's helped. The first is you have to dream big, no matter where you're sitting right now. Some of the biggest, most amazing success stories come from people like J.K. Rowling, who wrote most of Harry Potter while she was homeless. In an interview today, waiting for my rental car at Hertz, I saw, I can't remember her name, she's the youngest female billionaire in the history of the world. It's unbelievable. I was listening to her story and how her father raised her to say, what did you fail at today? And when they told him, he would get a high five from her dad going, way to go, keep it up. So failure to her was an everyday, no big deal. It's just part of life. So she never had fear, and fear never messed with her. And she's the youngest female billionaire ever, probably because her dad kept saying, what'd you fail at today? Way to go. So all these people that have amazing stories that literally, there's people out there dying to be your mentor. Dying to have someone say, hey, you've done pretty well in this world, teach me, show me. It's a lot easier to copy someone who's done it than reinvent the wheel. But if you don't have big dreams, I don't know what you have. Nightmares? Or really small dreams or no dreams at all? The second, first time I heard Rachel's dad share her story, he said, when you take a dream and you write it down on paper, now it's real. Then he said, the universe will come behind you to make it happen. And that's where my skeptical New Yorker came in. I was sitting in the back of the room where the cool people sit. And the first thing I felt was, Daryl, that's a little too cosmic for me. Writing down your goals is important, but the universe hasn't done anything but take my dad to cancer, take my best friend in a car wreck in high school, Attacked my mom with cancer. The universe is not interested in me. And I wanted to argue. 7 years later, the universe is moving for me in a huge way. More importantly, I get emails from people I've shared Rachel's story with from all around the country. And they say, tell Mr. Dave I'm doing this, and it works. But if I thought I had issues with the second step, then this one showed up on the screen. I grew up in a house where Mom wrote in a journal and Dad did not, so I thought this was a girl thing. I'm sorry, ladies, I didn't realize I was a little sexist. My wife has helped me have that surgically removed since. No worries.